Well, what we have now is we have the greatest bubble in history because governments fought the slowdown after 2008, which was very serious and would have been more serious and should have lasted into 2010, much like the 29 to 32 collapse. They just bubbled up financial assets. They haven't changed, incomes and stuff. They bubbled up financial assets, which means the rich, which were already getting richer in the greatest bubble boom in history, got even richer, and everyday people are still struggling. And now we have an economy, and I've been warning for years, I don't know exactly what's gonna happen, but it's happening now. You can't do this forever. You can't just print money and grow an economy past its fundamentals of what I study better than I think anybody in the world. When do people earn and spend money over their life cycle? What's the life cycle of people, and how do generations, particularly the largest in history, at least the largest in 250 years, the baby boom generation, affect that boom and bust? And we are still in the bust wake of the baby boom's peak into 2023-24 before we can grow through natural causes. And I see that this government printing scheme is now failing, despite printing more and more, failing anyway, because you can't do this forever, and it's going to collapse, which is just in time for us to balance out the economy so we can grow again with the millennial generation from 2024 forward. So I'm happy to see this collapse. I'm happy to see a downturn, damn it. We should have had a bigger one in 2008, 9, and 10 and got rid of most of this bad debt. Now we have more bad debt than ever. We're going to get rid of it in the next few years. It's going to be painful.
So, Harry, my question for you is because, my definition of intelligence is if you agree with me, you're intelligent. If you disagree with me, you're unintelligent. So you and I agree on the causes and symptoms and what's happening. We just disagree.
And not many, we've spoken a couple of opinions. Not many people agree with us, even though what I see, we have the most common sense approach. I mean, it's not only factual, it's common sense that you can't just grow by printing money out of thin air. I mean, how common sense can it be than that? We've been printing money since 2009.
Harry, tell us how you really feel.
I mean, this is insanity. You know what? Who are the most insane people in the world? People who get high, okay? It doesn't matter whether it's heroin or crack or alcohol. People get high and then they do stupid stuff because their brain stops working.
Harry.
So the whole world is high on nonstop stimulus since 2009, and this will not end well. That's the most common sense thing I can say.
We agree. We just come up with solutions, right? So again, Harry and I agree on the causes of it, but not that we disagree, we have different solutions to it. And our solutions are different because of our skill, background, and educational things like this. And to back up what Harry says, I won't mention his name, but he puts on Freedom Fest. I'm banned from that place. Because you know why? Because I went up there and I had a book called Rich Dad's Prophecy, and I was predicting why the bigger crash was following 2008. And this freedom-loving promoter of Freedom Fest banned me from it because how dare you say that? The stock market always goes up. And I went, I don't know what the heck you're doing here, but you must be smoking something. So
or you weren't around from late 29 to 42 when it went down lower and lower and did not get back to even until 1953, 25 years later. So that's called smoking crack.
So Harry, to that point on the stock market, you said the first wave of this downturn of the stock market is already happening?
Yeah. No, I think it already just bounced. We're bouncing out of that. It's not that strong a bounce, but I don't think it's going to last past this month if it has not already peaked.
So Harry,
the proof of my concept, and I think Robert's here, obviously, if we see another wave down, which would be the logical thing, forget everything we're saying. If I'm just looking as a stock chartist, we had this first crash, a tepid bounce, and we have another one of the same magnitude. We're going to see 7350, on the NASDAQ, down more than 50% by late this year, early next year, and then people are going to know something is really wrong.
So Harry, this is my question. I mean, we agree on all that. I wrote this book here, Who Stole My Pension? And that's for the baby boomers because we were the boom generation. 1974, the government passed ERISA, which became the 401k, which is the biggest Ponzi scheme I ever saw. And now they're pulling the rug out from all the baby boomers, because and I'm sure your numbers are going to be very accurate, because you are very accurate in your predictions. So the baby boomers are toast. So they were the boom, now they're the bust. And hold on. Harry, how come people don't know this? What blocks them from knowing?
Just normal. You believe what you want to believe because you want to believe it. The baby boom did cause, and I was the first one to say it, and it took me to the mid-'80s. I didn't get it in 1982 fully. Mid-'80s, see, this generation's going to go into their peak spending cycle all the way into 2007, greatest boom in history, going to make the 50s and 60s Bob Hope generation look like nothing, but then it's going to crash. Okay. So that's the problem now. It did crash. And the bigger problem is government said, well, we're not going to let it crash. And I'm like, who the hell are you? Who are you to think a bunch of politicians that never did anything for a living, most of you, and say, oh, we're just not going to let the economy do what the economy will do to correct an imbalance of overinvestment in bubbles and financial assets and bring them down to normal so we can grow again. They're fighting it.
Okay, good. So this is the book Prophecy. It was after 2008, and I said the biggest crash was coming. It's here now. And the question again, and they're still fighting it, and it's still going to happen anyway. Well, why does we're going to be right about it? It's going to get worse than people think, even now when it's finally starting to go down, despite endless government. I understand. So my question again is,
I'm talking to your audience, not you, Robert. Okay.
Yeah.
I know you understand.
Why don't people listen to idiots like us? Why do they believe these guys? Like, have you heard of the Kramer factor, Jim Kramer? Whatever Kramer predicts, you go short.
I can't even watch this guy. He's a smart idiot. He just entertains. He has nothing to do with the truth. All I do is research what happens in history and what causes things and what doesn't, and that's the truth. So, and you do not get a bubble like this. There has been no bubble any time in all of history that has not burst badly and rapidly when it does, and it's already started. And people are still in denial, included stupid Kramer. He's an idiot. Doesn't he not look like an idiot? Does he act like an idiot? Well, he's like a duck. He's a duck.
Harry, my question to you is it one of the problems is people choose the wrong prophet?
Well, no, they choose what they want to hear. If you're in a boom and you're invested in the boom, I mean, everyday people didn't used to have so much money in stocks. It was more in real estate. And real estate does not go down like stocks does. Real estate is more stable even when it goes down. And everybody now has to root for this thing to keep going. And so they'll listen to the people that say, oh, no, don't worry about this. Don't worry about debt levels. Don't worry about demographics declining, which they're declining at the speed of light in all developed countries in the world. Somehow the government will bring us out of this.
So Kim, we got, hey, Harry, we're the new age men. We're going to give them
so we're not going to be listened to until we're right, and then it'll be too late. That's my point.
Well, I got two comments, and to your point, Harry, of course, if you're vested heavy in the stock market, you only want to hear that the stock market's going to keep going up. That's what you're going to pay attention to. My question is then, you're on the demographics of the baby boomers. They went at their peak in 2007. What's the impact of millennials? Are they going to have The
millennials bring us up through natural causes instead of printing money from 2024. And I'm very precise about this. I said from the beginning, the baby boom thing was going to peak in late 2007. I said that in the 80s. That's how predictable people earning and spending money as they age are in generational surges. And the baby boom was a big surge. So of course, a great boom. So we've been down ever since then. The millennials do not bring the upward natural momentum until 2024, and they will peak by 2037, much shorter boom than the baby boom.
What was it? Boomers were like 46 to 64 was a boom generation. There was a Gen X behind us?
Yeah, okay. Let me be more precise.
Gen X, because let's
first turned up noticeably from 1937 into 61. That's the rising baby boom, which on a lag, predictable, quantifiable lag for peak spending at 46, moving towards 47, would have given us a peak in late 2007. I've been preaching that since the 80s. And people back then were saying, Harry, you're crazy. The U.S. is done. Asia's taking over. Japanese make us look like idiots, you know? And I'm like, yeah, they're growing and they're going to grow longer, but we still have the greatest baby boom in the world, and we're going to have the greatest boom in history until 2007, and then it's going to clap.
Who is Gen X and what's their challenge now? Because that's a large generation, too. Not a large.
Gen X is the declining birth rates from 1961 into 73 to 75 that caused the slowdown from 2008 still into 2022-23 before the millennials born after them take it up. And even the millennials, here's the important point, and nobody gets this, okay? Even the millennials, with their spending power as a smaller generation, less long in birth, only take us back to where the baby boomers took us. We only get back to even adjusted for rising productivity. We will never see a boom like 1983 to 2007 again in the US. And most of the developed world will never, and Europe's already behind us.
Okay, so
that's the truth.
So my question is, what's going to happen to Gen X? Because they're the sandwich. They're sandwich right now. They're the spread.
Well, they're causing the slowdown, but they kind of benefit because when asset prices go down eventually, which they are yet, the government will, when they do finally crash, they're going to be able to invest at more reasonable prices again and be able to invest for retirement. I tell you, anybody right now in the markets, whether it be bond markets at the lowest interest rates ever, long-term, or stock markets, the highest valuation, if you invest today, even with no predictions of up and down economy, you're likely to make, a couple percent a year for the rest of your life. You're not going to be able to retire profitably until the markets come down to reality and you can invest at fair asset prices again.
Okay,
across the board.
I'll let Kim give her a breath here before we go to break. So Kim, any final thoughts or things you want to say?
I want to go back to the millennial generation because on the demographic side, because I see, so much has changed in the economy. People aren't going to work in the office building anymore. They're working from home. Millennials don't seem to be having the income that baby boomers had. They seem to have a different work ethic. Does that play into the cycles of earning money, spending money, all of that?
Ask me how long I've been working at home. Since 1989, okay? This is a new trend everywhere. It's a good trend. People don't have to spend an hour or two commuting every day and sitting in the car. It's only more productive, okay? It's just that the millennials are causing, with less spending than the baby boomers who already peaked at age 46 to 47 before them, they're causing a slowdown. And instead of governments helping to restructure debt, we've got tons of bad debt now from the great boom from 83 to 2007 that needs to be restructured. They're encouraging people to keep that bad debt in place and not to reinvest in new industries and stuff. They're doing all the wrong things because they don't want to have a recession. You know what recession is to me? Sleep. Try not sleeping for 3 days and not become a crazy person. It's already proven. 3 to 5 days, no sleep, you'll become a crazy person. We have to grow and expand all the innovation of the past, and we have to slow again and restructure and cut out losing companies and losing things and reinvest in the future. And governments are interrupting the free market capitalist system that has made us the richest and the greatest advance since the late 1700s in all of history because they don't want to have a damn recession.
Do not forget to click the like button, leave your comments below and subscribe to the channel to join the community for more interesting finance contents like this. Thanks for watching and see you on the next one.